Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Gold Prospecting at Home. This is episode number 161, and this is going to be the description video for KleshGold.com's Klesh Panning Experience and the complete Klesh Panning Experience. This is one of each of every one of my gold pay dirts minus the custom bags. There's 8 bags in total. We have the discovery bags, beginner bags, blast bags, the crumb and the raw, which are my 2 mini bags, the strike, expert, and impossible. We're gonna mix all these bags together and see what happens. My prediction is it's gonna be quite difficult because that one impossible bag mixed in with everything is gonna make the whole thing just a big disaster. I kinda know what to expect here because that one impossible bag, which is the world's most difficult pay dirt, and if you want to know why, I'll put a link below. You can check that out. This is going to be, actually, the first 90% of it is going to be pretty easy, but the last 10% is going to take 90% of the time. That's my prediction. If you're interested in any of the individual bags, there is a video for each one of them. You can either go to KleshGold.com and just watch the video on the description page of each product, or I'll put a playlist right here with all of the different gold pay dirts that I have. These cost today $400. The price fluctuates because there's a certain amount of gold in every bag, so I adjust the price and not the amount of gold. So let's go over to the panning station. I have everything set up over there. We'll take a look at it, and hope you guys enjoy the video. Okay, here it is, the complete Klesh Panning Experience from KleshGold.com. Let's take a look at it in a pan. Nice. All right, let's start out by opening up the 2 mini bags. First is the crumb bag. This is right off the shelf, serial number 26943. Every bag is serial numbered and the weight of gold is recorded. The reason there's a printed serial number on every bag is so I can keep track of exactly how much gold that I put in every single bag. There's the crumb material. You can see a few, gemstones. That is not gold, that's a piece of pyrite. I don't see the picker or any flakes, but that's okay. I think I do see a flake right there. Here's the raw bag, serial 5651. The only bag with no guaranteed minimum amount of gold on my website, except for the discovery bag. There's maybe a small amount of gold in those. But these have no guaranteed minimum amount of gold because this is the concentrates from one 5-gallon bucket of material ran through a sluice box from my mining locations here in Colorado. I don't know if you can tell, but the material is a lot darker. A lot of black sand in there and everything. But that's the truest to nature gold panning experience you can find. Next we have the Gems and Minerals Discovery Pay Dirt. This is no guaranteed minimum amount of gold, serial 2610, but there's lots of gems and minerals, guaranteed. Some chunky gems and minerals. These are no longer available individually. You have to buy a kit, like a complete panning experience, in order to get the discovery bags. Next is the Gold Beginner Pay Dirt, serial 9481. Of course, every bag is heat sealed. These bags, I usually throw in a nice quartz point for the kids, but these are easy. They have just large gold in them. Pickers only. Sometimes you'll find some flakes and flour gold, but that would be from the material naturally. Next is the gold blast bag. The 1 gram of gold guaranteed. Contains pickers and flakes. Next is the gold strike bag, my personal favorite. These are pretty much like a big raw bag. They're like the truest to nature gold panning experience, except you're guaranteed a 1/2 gram of gold in these. Good amount of black sand in these. Difficulty 7.5 out of 10. Here's the gold expert bag. These are like a difficulty 8.5 out of 10. There's a lot more black sand in these. And it also contains a lot more flour gold than the strike bag. And there's, this is actually pretty fun too. This is probably my second favorite. Also only available with kits. You can't buy them individually anymore. And the final boss, the Gold Impossible Pay Dirt. There's a 1/4 gram guaranteed in these, serial 1456. This material is going to be wet. kind of damp in there. It's not soaking. This is going to create some challenges. Okay, we've got a good amount of material here. It doesn't look too crazy. You can see some quartz, some gemstones. There's a piece of kyanite right there. So the quickest and most efficient way to remove all these gemstones and stuff is to just run it through a 1/4 inch classifier. It won't remove everything, but it'll remove most. I thought that was a gold nugget for a second. So here we have some amethyst and chalcopyrite, a bunch of quartz points. So in a discovery bag, everything that's over a 1/4 inch as far as gemstones and minerals, this is what you can expect to find. I'll keep that separate, and if I find any more gemstones, which I'm sure I will, we'll just throw them in here. I don't see anything else worth keeping in the plus 1/4 inch. All right, next we're gonna classify to kitchen strainer. Okay, here it is, our plus and minus kitchen strainer size material. Now I let this stuff dry out in the sun for a little while because that impossible pay dirt is wet on purpose to make it more difficult. So drying this stuff out was an extra step I wanted to take to make it more manageable. So now that the material is dry, it is safe to remove the magnetic material. So I'm going to use my black sand removal tool that you can buy on kleshgold.com. So here you can see there's a good amount of black sand. Out here in Colorado, there is a lot of black sand. So it's very beneficial to try to remove this stuff before you attempt panning. And the reason being is, if you didn't know, black sand is very heavy. Not as heavy as gold, but it's pretty heavy. So when we get to that last 10% of the panning process, removing this stuff now is going to make it a lot easier later on. I'm going to take as much time as it takes to remove as much of this black sand as possible. It's always a fun process. It's just taking longer than usual. There is, like I said, there is a lot of black sand from my mining locations. They're very rich in gold as well. Okay, I've been at it for a while. I got a lot of magnetic material out. There's still more. Every time I go in there, I'm finding a little bit more. I might spend a few more minutes just trying to get every last bit out. But for now, I think we're good. Okay, it's not perfect, but we got a good amount. I would say 98% of all the magnetic black sands out. We're gonna pan this stuff first, just to make sure that I didn't grab any gold with the magnet, because the reason why, when I push this magnet down in there and I pull out black sand, there's a chance you can see that there's non-magnetic material in there as well. That's why you'll see me like drop it and then pick it up again, letting the magnetic material jump up to the magnet. We'll go ahead and pan out the magnetics first. So let's bring over Crusty Rusty. I'll add some water and a few drops of this jet dry. That's just a surfactant that'll break the surface tension of the water, so any of that really fine flour gold won't float away. So I'm just going to pan out about 1 spoonful of this black sand at a time, because it is going to be extremely difficult. It's all heavies, so of course it's going to be tough. The only thing I'm going to wash off is the dirty water. Everything else stays in the pan, and I'm just going to spin it back, keep my eyes on it to see if there's any gold in there. I'm just panning it back very gently, allowing the water to wash the black sands back slowly. And there is a piece of gold in there. It's not unheard of to actually see gold in your magnetics here, and I'm just gonna grab it with a snuffer bottle as I see it. I know there's no gold back here, so I'm gonna wash all that out. All right, I see 3 more pieces. So there's a bigger flake right there that came up somehow with the magnet. This stuff gets trapped, even if you're careful. All right, we found gold. I'm gonna continue doing the rest of this, and I'll let you know what I find. All right, here we go. I'm gonna take 1 spoonful just to gauge the difficulty. I really don't know what to expect. I know we removed a lot of black sands, so it's not gonna be super tough, but also in the impossible bag, there is that tungsten dust, which does not come up with the magnet. And if we find any of that, plus flour gold in here, we're in for some pain here. So let's go ahead and do this. It's panning off pretty easily. The material isn't super organic or dark or dirty. We do still have a lot of black sand in there. Zoom in a bit. So yeah, we're already finding some flakes. So there you can see from the first spoonful, got a nice little amount of gold. I'm just gonna grab it as I see it. I'm not gonna get too picky with trying to separate the black sands or anything. I'm just gonna grab the gold as I see it. There's a lot of flour gold in here that it's pretty easy to miss. So if I pan this back a second time, I'm finding more gold. Actually, I missed a whole bunch. There's a lot of flakes in there. How did I miss that? All right, let's pan it back a third time. All right, I'm panning it back a third time here, and I'm still finding gold. I'm gonna give this probably like a difficulty, 8.5 so far. It's basically like running an expert bag because of all the black sand that's still in here, even after removing it with the magnet. So yeah, 8.5 difficulty is what I would give it, because that was just one spoonful. The overburden pans off really easily. It's not muddy or organic. And then once we pan it back, that's where we get, I'm already seeing flour gold. I'm already seeing flakes. Right there. All right, so far so good. I'm gonna pan out the rest of this, and I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, it's about 1 hour later, and I decided to go live for panning out the majority of the minus kitchen strainer material, and I'll link that live stream right here if you want to watch that hour. We're at the very last pan of the minus kitchen strainer, and we found a good amount of gold so far, which is in the snuffer bottle, and I'll show that before we get on to the next step, which is the plus kitchen strainer. Pan this last pan off. Look at all that gold at the bottom. Actually, I have a piece of floating gold right there. I have to attack with some jet dry. There's a lot of black sand in here, and I think I actually took too much material. I think I got too brave. I'm gonna go ahead and just pan like 2 spoonfuls. Every pan was pretty much the same during the live stream. Just lots of black sand, lots of gold. So as you can see, as soon as I tilt it down, there's black sands everywhere. And I spent a lot of time trying to remove as much of that as I possibly could. And this is the reason why. Even with all that effort though, it didn't make things much easier. There is still some overburden there that I'm panning off, but you can see we're at the black sands already. Got to stratify again, bring the light material to the top, wash it off, and repeat that a few times until we have a manageable amount of material to pan back. We're getting down to the very end where it's only black sand and gold. If I tap it, you'll be able to see the gold show up at the top, and that usually helps separate a lot of that black sand out. Spend a little more time there, separate it a little bit better. Oh. I'm actually making pretty quick work of this, surprisingly. But as you can see, this is a process, and once I clean this pan out, I have to go back to the snuffer bottle and repeat that again and again until all that's left is just gold. All right, we're getting a lot closer, so even though it's wet, I'm gonna take my magnet just to remove as much of that magnetic stuff as I can. I don't recommend using a magnet to remove black sand when it's wet, and I'll show you why. Drop it in there. There's a bunch of flour gold in there, which is gonna be really difficult to separate. Now we still have to deal with this tungsten dust from the Impossible bag. That's not magnetic. Okay, so the trick with everything that remains, I like to loosely hold the pan with my left hand and then tap randomly to get that black sand to jump out. And then with a different snuffer bottle, I will grab the black sand and any non-gold material. This is the best way to get rid of that tungsten. I just kind of tap it randomly, and that tungsten likes to jump out on the sides sometimes. I've been at it for a while longer, and it is impossible to separate that fine flour gold from that gray tungsten. It's so difficult. You can try washing it back. you're gonna end up moving the gold before the tungsten moves. I did my best with the minus kitchen strainer. We are now on to the plus, and I'm just gonna pan about that much to start. This is where we're gonna see any pickers or nuggets, if there's any. I know there's pickers. I don't know about nuggets. Sometimes we throw nuggets in the blast bags. Sometimes we have bonus bags, you'll find nuggets. I am finding some crystal points, like smaller ones that I throw in like usually the crumb bags and stuff. There's some nice pickers in there. Now I have to repan all of my tailings to make sure I didn't miss anything. And then we'll take this gold, we'll dry it out, we'll weigh it up, and we'll get a value on it. All right, it is 4 hours and 14 minutes later. That's how long it took to pan this stuff. Let's take a look and see how much 3.08 grams of 24 karat pure gold is. Now, natural gold is not 24 karat pure, but if you get the right pay dirt vendor that would buy your natural placer gold, some of them pay up to 24 karat pure value. I'm one of them, and if you have natural placer gold and you're looking to sell your gold, go to kleshgold.com. You might already be on the website. Just go to the sell your gold link somewhere up here and send me a picture of your gold on a scale set to grams, and I'll send you a free quote and buy your gold. Right now, gold spot price is $3,339 per troy ounce on July 17th, 2025. And we got $330 worth of gold from a $400 purchase. Now the shipping for these, I think it is $17. I had to raise it because the USPS raised their price. It used to be $15 for shipping. So I don't know the exact number there, but that's well over a 70% ROI. It's closer to, well, let me just check. All right, we got $330 worth of gold, and it costs $415 after shipping. 79% ROI. So that's pretty darn good. This isn't a review or anything like that. Of course, I can't make a review on my own product. This is just a description video for the website. If you're watching this on YouTube and you don't know about kleshgold.com, you could go over there and you can see a video of every one of my pay dirts now. Finally, I got the complete kit done. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.